Welcome back to Aerofly FS4 and the long-awaited 737NG. Today we'll take it for a full flight and see how it performs. This 737 is the 900ER variant, which is the long-range version, and it comes with a selection of real-world liveries. Our test route today is from Stansted. We're taking runway 04, Barkway to Sierra, and then we're heading directly to Glasgow for a direct approach to the ILS for 05. Before we take off, a quick look at the virtual cockpit. The detail I would say is comparable to the last generation PMDG 737NG, which was released for P3D. Heading into our pre-flight, head down to the FMC, we can see V-speeds are already pre-populated. If we now go over to the start of the perf pages, I'm going to correct our cruising altitude. For some reason it's put 3000. I'm going to correct that to a more realistic 26,000, hit execute. As we click through these perf pages, obviously the rest is pre-populated and we're soon back at the V-speeds. Looking at the legs page, scroll down and we can see that the flight that I planned in the world map has pulled through correctly. On the autopilot panel, again mostly pre-configured, flight director auto throttle are already armed. VNAV and LNAV are already armed, so all we need to do is dial in our desired cruising altitude, that is 26,000. We're now ready to go. So time for takeoff. Throttle's to full and I'm going to let you listen to the engine note here. I think that's pretty good myself.
V1.
As soon as we have positive rate, bring the landing gear up. Flight director activates soon afterwards. Fly manually for a bit following it, and then we'll activate the autopilot. Retracting flaps as the airplane accelerates, and soon after it starts turning on the SID, has no problem following the lateral flight path, and in terms of vertical flight path, it correctly obeys altitude constraints during its climb, and once those constraints are cleared, it continues on its vertical path. As we climb, take a quick look at the pedestal. Our destination ILS is pre-tuned already, and if we look up at the autopilot panel, the course for our arrival runway is already dialed in by default. Top of climb is correctly indicated both on the ND and the progress page, and when we reach top of climb, the airplane levels off, brings the throttles back, and the correct VNAV path annunciator appears. At cruise, the distance and time to top of descent is displayed on the progress page of the FMC, and approach ref is already pre-populated also. I've already armed the spoilers, set auto brake to high in preparation for approach. All that remains is to check our bottom of descent altitude, that's 2,400 for Glasgow, and I'm going to dial that into the autopilot panel just so we're ready for our automatic descent at TD. We can see top of descent is marked on the navigation display ahead of us, and when that point arrives, the airplane automatically idles the throttle, pitches down, and begins to follow its vertical descent path. As you'd expect, the airplane does level off, as indicated on the vertical profile here at 10,000 feet in order to decelerate to 250 knots. After that time it continues its descent. As we get closer to the airport, the airplane wants to decelerate to its approach speed, so as it slows, we'll increment the flaps. Turning on to final, I'll activate localizer, and as we're established, also activate approach. Very shortly afterwards, we're slow enough to put the flaps to full, drop the landing gear, and we're now on final approach to Glasgow. As we hit the glide slope, I'll activate the second autopilot and we can see the flare annunciator appear. As we're configured for an automatic landing,
50, 40.
you can see the flare annunciator appear, the airplane will idle the throttle and flare. It's actually quite floaty on these auto lands. When it touches down, the spoilers extend, the nose wheel comes down, the autopilot goes off, we'll increase the reversers, and auto brake will bring us to a stop. As we take in the landing replay, that concludes our video review of the 737 for Aerofly FS4. This airplane is available for free in the default Aerofly FS4 download, so please update and enjoy. Thank you for watching. If you found this entertaining or useful, please drop a like and subscribe for regular sim content. Take care, and I'll see you next time.